Hey guys, Kevin Cleary here with a knife video for you, and as you can see before you, I've got a couple of these zero tolerance sprint runs for 2016, and that's what I'm going to focus on in this video. But before I get into that, here's what I'd like to ask of you guys. Which is your favorite of these sprint runs? Which one do you like the most, or are you most attracted to or drawn to? Maybe which one are you getting or have you already gotten? If you're wanting a whole list of the ones that are available, there is a story about this on Knife News that I'm pretty sure lists them all. So you can click over there and check out the full list. I'll give it to you here as well in a couple minutes. The other question though I'd like to ask is, what if it was just opened up and you could have any sprint run in ZT, give me a steel and an anodization color or handle material that you'd like to see. I'm going to go ahead and say I would love a 0300 in satin finished M390 with a standard titanium lock side and some brightly colored G10 handle side, so show side, maybe a blue G10 or an orange G10, something really bright and that would stand out. Anyway, I know that's not likely to ever happen, but that would be a pretty cool knife as far as I'm concerned. The 0300 is a great knife. Now, let's get back to reality here and give you the knives that are actually available. Of course, you do have the two that I've got on the table here. This is the 0801 with bronze scales and M390 steel. And over here we have the 0452 with the blue anodized scales and the M390 steel. Both of these, by the way, I really like. I really like the original in both of these, and I really like the sprint run here. Of course, the 801 is the most different from the original, and I'll speak to that specifically in a couple of minutes. But before we move on, let me just point out here that there are a few others available. The 0630 CF is available in the M390 steel. The 0566 CF is in the M390 steel. You've already seen the two that I've got here on the table. There's also the 0770 in black wash and gray aluminum handle scale. The 0900 in a blue anodization. I'm not sure about the steel on that one. Someone comment below with that if you wouldn't mind. And also the ZT0450. This one I think is really cool in the ZDP 189. Now, I think the Knife News story mentioned some retailer, maybe GT Knives, also doing some custom G10 scales, but those are mods, right? They're not really sprints. They're taking current production models and just switching out the scales, which is still cool, but not quite the scope of this conversation. So again, go ahead and comment below with the sprints that you'd like to see. What's a favorite ZT of yours, and what kind of steel, what kind of handle material would you like to see it offered in? By the way, this particular knife, the 801, has had a number of sprint runs and some really nice ones. There was the Copperhead, there's been the S110V with the plain scale. That is one of my favorites. With this one, only slightly surpassing it. The only thing that ever put me off of this knife was really the handle scales. I didn't really like them. The variation on the handle scale, I think, is a huge upgrade. Let me move this guy out of frame and bring this one back and talk a little bit specifically about the 801 bronze and kind of go over that with you. So the first thing I've got to say is big fan of the M390 steel, and who wouldn't be? This is a great blade shape, just kind of versatile and attractive. I got to say I'm a big fan of satin finishes anyway, but check out those grind lines. And then of course you've got the stonewash here on the spine and on the flats. Really nice looking. There you go. Blade, of course, I think is a big win. M390 steel is great. I feel like the edge geometry might be a little better, a little bit thinner than the standard. That could be totally a figment of my imagination, but I do feel that the overall versatility and utility of this blade is very good. The action on this, now look, the 801 was already known as a knife with a phenomenal action, and this one is no exception. The detent is nice and stiff. The blade absolutely flies out of the handle, and of course drops closed nicely. So great action on this. I will say the way that they've done the lock is a big improvement. This used to be both round, and there were issues with this knife not staying adjusted in the pivot very well. So you'd flip this a few times, or over a day or so, this would come loose. Now we're not going to have that problem, and so that is really nice. Other than that, though, it's sort of the same stuff. You've got your lock bar insert and over travel stop, just like you did on the original. And so lockup and deployment is fairly similar, but guess what? On the original, it was stellar. This knife has a reputation for having great action, and this one is no different. Now, what I really want to focus on is the changes in the handle. Okay, go ahead and check out the way the original handle looked. I'll throw a picture in here at some point, but I think this is a massive upgrade. You know, the fact that you've got this contoured milling here on both sides, I think that this handle is a big upgrade on this knife. Absolutely stellar. I love the holes so that you can see that blade in there when it's closed. Gotta say, I absolutely love the way that looks. Love the coloring. Otherwise, though, you know, it still has the standoff, same as the original. And the one comment I will make, okay, is the hardware on this maybe could be, I don't know. I feel like, you know, everything else about this is quite high-end, really nicely done, but the hardware is maybe a little underwhelming. Not that it's an issue. I actually, overall, I think the colors look fine. There is one YouTuber, Dr. Funky or Frankie or something like that. He has switched out this hardware to all bronze hardware, and I think the knife looks really cool, although I'm not crazy about the pocket clip that he picked. But that, I don't know, because this is a sprint run and because I want to kind of keep this in pretty good condition in case I ever decide to not keep it. By the way, I probably won't keep both of these long term, but I will say I'm really impressed with the way that this knife has been done. Great upgrade to what was already a pretty good knife. Especially though for me this upgrade is fitting because I wasn't a huge fan of the handle on the original 801, so now this handle upgrade is stellar as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely well done. Now let's switch over to the other knife I've got here, which is the 0452 in the blue. Okay, still, you know, this was a great blade already, and now you still have the same blade shape, but in M390 steel, which is definitely an upgrade. Absolutely awesome. Same as the 801, you have the stonewashed flats on this, and then the satin grind lines. And again, look at those grind lines. Isn't that fantastic? Nice thin edge there, very sharp. This is a phenomenal knife already. Just in terms of size to weight ratio, in terms of the action on this, many people have pointed out, and I'll remind you again, that this has one of the nicest actions that you can get in a production knife, possibly the best action of any ZT that's out there. Just absolutely phenomenal. So we have the standard CF, and on this side, blue anodization. Now there's no big changes here, right? This is pretty well just a production, or just the same as the standard production version of this, except for the blue anodization, which is really well done. It's just even and consistent, looks really sharp. Both of these knives, by the way, the anodization color will take on some variation from the oils in your hand. Once again, you know, same as standard. You know, you got your lock bar insert, over travel stop, very nice decorative pivot on this knife. But once again, we can say that maybe the hardware on this is a little underwhelming. You know, you have this knife that looks very cool, lots of high-end materials, and then just these sort of black bent over clip and black screws, which, you know, not the end of the world, and I'm sure there will be lots of aftermarket options. In fact, there are already lots of aftermarket options for this. Again, I'm going to keep this standard, but again, I've got to say, this was a great knife already, and certainly the steel is an upgrade, and I do like the anodization. So really, really well done on both of these. And I'm going to say this, these are the only two of these sprint runs that I'm going to chase after, or that I really have any interest in. So I feel really, really fortunate to get them and be able to check them out for a while. Not sure how long these are going to stick around, but I absolutely wanted to get my hands on them. Very, very impressive. I think there are still a few of these out there in the wild. This guy is sold out everywhere, so if you really want one, you're going to be looking on the secondary market and probably paying a bit of a premium for that. Both of these were expensive already. I think this one retailed for $260, or does retail for $260, and this one might have been $240 or $250. Anyway, fairly expensive already, and if you're going to be paying aftermarket prices, are going to be a little more. But the nice thing is they're done, right? There's no more left, so you're getting something that is probably going to hold its value reasonably well. Now, am I saying go and buy one for an investment? No, because, you know, I would say if someone were to call me and try to sell me one or offer one in a trade, you know, I think you're going to top out around $300 on these. But both very, very nice knives, and actually, you know, if they offered these for sale at $300, I don't think it would have been completely inappropriate. So that's the other thing I want to say about these before we're done is I think Zero Tolerance priced these really, really fairly, you know, and made it so that really a lot of people who wanted a ZT Sprint would be able to get their hands on one. Previous efforts along these lines, you know, the Copperhead, the S110V, and others have been pretty hard to get a hold of. So it's really cool that they, or I mean, have been fairly high priced. So it's pretty cool that they kept the prices on these pretty reasonable. So there you go. I will say, I guess in closing, that I think these are really, really great move by Zero Tolerance. What I'm curious though about is what other sprints they may come up with. I'd be interested to see, you know, what 2017 will hold, if we're going to see some other models. I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say let's see a 0562. That I think would be a really, really popular sprint, but not an M390, please, because that's already, you know, there's already a limited quantity of those out there, and I think it would be kind of messing with collectors to go and do another one. Anyway, talk to you soon. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll look forward to those comments below about the sprints that you would like to see. We'll talk to you soon.